You ever wonder if your favorite AI assistant could just work without the internet? No Wi-Fi, no problem. It sounds kind of like magic, right? The super powerful brain living right there in your pocket, completely disconnected from the cloud. Well, I'm here to tell you it is not magic. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it's done. Okay, just picture this for a second. You're completely in the zone, you're on a tight deadline, and you're using your go-to AI tool for everything, and then suddenly, poof, it's gone. The screen goes blank, connection lost. For a lot of us, that's a real nightmare scenario. It's this little reminder of just how much we've come to depend on these incredible but cloud-based assistants. And look, this isn't just me being dramatic. It actually happened. Back on November 8th, 2023, this exact thing played out for real when ChatGPT had a huge, long outage. I mean, for a lot of people, work just stopped. It was a massive wake-up call, and it really highlighted this big single point of failure in how we're all using AI. But what if there was another way? Well, the good news is there is another way. We are right in the middle of this quiet revolution, the rise of a completely different kind of AI. One that runs directly on your device, on your laptop, on your phone. This is the local AI revolution, and it's all about putting the power right back where it belongs, in your hands. So what's the actual difference here? Well, with cloud AI, think ChatGPT, you absolutely need that internet connection. All your data, your prompts, everything gets sent off to some server farm somewhere, and because of that round trip, you can get that annoying delay, right? That's latency. But with on-device AI, it's a whole different ballgame. It works completely offline, your data never, ever leaves your machine, and the response, it's pretty much instant. And when you start to stack up the benefits of this shift, they are huge. I mean, first, you get total reliability. Internet goes down, who cares? Your AI still works. Second, you get real privacy and security because your sensitive stuff, your personal data, it all stays local. Plus, over time, it's way more cost-efficient without those monthly subscription fees. And of course, the big one, true offline capability. It's AI anywhere, anytime. Okay, this all sounds amazing, but it brings up a pretty massive question. The AI models that we're all used to, the ones in the cloud, they are gigantic. They live in these massive data centers. So how on earth do you take that colossal AI brain and shrink it down to fit on your laptop? And that is the perfect question. It's actually the exact thing a user asked on Reddit, and it gets right to the heart of this whole thing. If the AI isn't connected to the live internet, where does all its knowledge even come from? How can it answer your questions? So here's the first secret you gotta understand. A large language model is not a search engine. It's what's called a pre-trained model. The best way to think about it is like a brain that's already graduated. It's read the entire library, it's done all its homework. All of its knowledge is baked in from the insane amount of data it was trained on. So it doesn't need to look up the rules to pickleball on the internet, it already learned them during its training. The knowledge is self-contained. But even with all that knowledge baked right in, these AI brains are still absolutely massive. We're talking hundreds of gigabytes, sometimes more. So the real secret, the key that unlocks all of this, is a set of really clever techniques called model compression. This is how the magic happens. This is how we make them smaller and way more efficient without making them dumb. Okay, so one of the main techniques is something called pruning. Now, an AI's neural network starts out as this incredibly dense web of connections, right? Pruning is a process that intelligently goes through that web and snips away the weakest or the most redundant connections. It's kind of like trimming away the dead branches on a tree. What you're left with is a network that is so much leaner and faster, but it still has all its core strength. All right, the second big technique is called quantization. This one's really cool. Inside an AI model, there are millions and millions of numbers, all with super high precision, like tons of decimal places. Quantization basically reduces that precision. The best analogy I've heard is this. Imagine you have a super high-res photo of a pizza. Quantization is like lowering the pixel count. Now, you might lose a tiny, tiny bit of crisp detail on a pepperoni, but you can still absolutely 100% tell it's a pepperoni pizza. The main picture is perfectly clear, but the file size is just drastically smaller. So this is where it gets really exciting. What happens when you put these incredibly powerful compression techniques together? Well, you get a whole new class of AI models, these pocket brains, that aren't just theoretical. They're here, right now, ready to go. That's right, thanks to things like pruning and quantization, we now have this new generation of AI that's both incredibly powerful and amazingly compact, all designed from the ground up to live right there in your pocket. And a perfect example of this is Google's EmbeddingGemma. Just look at what this thing can do. It's built from the start to be offline and totally secure. It's ridiculously efficient with storage, it supports over 100 languages, and it processes all your documents right there on your own hardware in milliseconds. It's just a powerhouse. And now, get this. This is the part that blows my mind. To run this powerful multilingual model, you need less than 200 megabytes of RAM. Let me put that in perspective for you. That is often less memory than a single lonely tab open in your web browser. That's an absolutely incredible feat of engineering, and it's what makes this kind of powerful AI accessible on pretty much any modern device. And you can feel the excitement building around this. People are already dreaming up the possibilities. Just like this Reddit user said, we are speeding towards a future full of these crazy smart devices with actual LLMs built right in. Imagine your home assistant just working flawlessly, even when the Wi-Fi cuts out. It's going to be a total game changer. But when you boil it all down, this isn't just about a cool piece of tech. It's about taking that tech and putting it to work for you, completely on your own terms. This whole shift toward local AI, it's about so much more than just convenience or avoiding outages. It represents a really fundamental change in who's in control. It means you control your tools, and maybe most importantly, it means you own and protect your data. And you know what? Getting started with this is way easier than you probably think. Seriously, step 1, just check your hardware. Any modern laptop with about 16 gigs of RAM is a great place to start. Step 2, install a simple tool like a Llama. It makes managing all these local models an absolute breeze. And then step 3, just use a Llama to download and run an amazing open source model like Microsoft's Phi 3. And that's it. Boom. You are now running your very own local AI. And all of this brings us to one last really fascinating thought. For the first time, AI is becoming truly, deeply personal. It's a tool that's going to live on our devices, be shaped by our own private data, and be tailored specifically to our needs. So the question isn't just, what can AI do for us anymore? The new question is, as this incredible power becomes our own, what will we choose to teach it?